We are going to talk about TransactionPlan today, which is the consumer-facing portal of the Citrix account tech. So it's web-based. It is password protected, so it's still secure, but they do allow media. Account tech within Citrix does not allow any media content because of the chance of viruses and everything goes up. So they do keep all media out of the Citrix environment. So the media is residing in TransactionPlan. And also things like open houses and virtual tours and stuff are in TransactionPlan as well. So I'm going to cover some of those, and then I'm going to show you a report that you can run that will help you keep your information in account tech up to date. So I'm going to cover both of those topics, and they're both launched from account tech. Of course, I will try to keep my eye on the chat box, but I am still getting used to, if you were on the call earlier, you'll know I'm getting used to this new system. So you can unmute yourselves if you have a question or whatever it might be. Just let me know if you need some information or clarifying points. So you can get to TransactionPlan from our handy dandy Schmidt resources. So you just pick your state, find the little tree, plant, whatever you want to call that. And then it's right here where it says TransactionPlan login agents and staff. So we have not rolled this out to even managers yet, let alone agents. They will get access to this. It's where the managers will be able to go to run reports. It's where the agents will be able to go to get their financial information. We just haven't had a chance to roll that plan out yet. You can access it with the same username and password that you use to get into account tech. So if you've not yet been in TransactionPlan, it's that same username and password that you use to get into account tech. So it's typically first name, last name, and then whatever password you've updated it to over the last few times it's asked you to update. From here, obviously, you just click login. And then this is the landing page. So it looks kind of sparse. You can see there's a heck of a lot less data than when you log into account tech. But everything that you need to do from here is launched from this screen. So the first thing I want to show you is how to get to a listing. So up here in the type address box, you type in a listing. And this particular one has been a pain in my butt. So I know the address well, trying to get it to load right online. It's listed in 2 different MLSs, so it's been a struggle. So once this comes up, you have these quick tabs here that you can get to quickly. So if you want to update the open house, which we know right now probably not going to have a lot of open houses, just as we socially distance ourselves, but this is where you would go to make sure that the open house information is correct, because this will be feeding websites like Coldwell Banker Luxury, Coldwell Banker, Zillow, Trulia. So this is where you can go to update that information. Should feed over from the MLS correctly, but we all know how technology works and it doesn't always work correctly. So this is how you fast track getting those open houses corrected. You can also just click on the address and fully launch into that file, into that listing. So essentially, when the MLSs in your areas feed account tech, that listing information is going into actual account tech, which you've been working in. That's where you go to add transactions, closings, escrow, that type of thing. But the listing information is simultaneously gets put into TransactionPlan. So that's what you're looking at here. Now, there's not as much content as there is in account tech, but this is the information that you are able to update from this platform. And it really is all based on what the consumer is going to see on the end, whether it be Zillow or coldbanker.com or Coldwell Banker Luxury. So this is an important spot to come to update some of that information. So when you click on open house times, obviously there's no open houses on this one. If you need to add it because it didn't come over in the flow at all, you just click add. You pick your date, pick your time and the duration. So you do start time. So if it's a typical like 12 to 2, you would pick 12 and then 2 hours. And you can put notes in if you want, but it's not necessary. And then click save. So I'm just going to quickly add one. And of course, it's not letting me pick the calendar right now, because why would anything with technology work for me today? Oh, seems to be a little slow internet here. Sorry about that. There we go. So we'll just say this weekend, we'll just say it's going to be at 11 o'clock for 2 hours. and it's trying to save, so we'll wait on that. But essentially, once you put it in, it's going to show up on this line up here. And then if you need to edit it because the times came over incorrectly, that's been kind of a known issue that we were experiencing before we stopped having open houses. Michelle asked, are we supposed to already know stuff about account tech? So Michelle, it works a little bit differently in your region. Chris and Karen in your region do your processing. So you have not been in account tech yet. So you don't have to worry about that portion of it. But TransactionPlan you will want to in case you have to help update listings on the consumer facing site. So very good question there. You should have gotten an email, I believe, from Kelly Ewing with your login information. But if you have not, then let me know after or let Kelly know and we'll get you in there. I'm having no luck getting this to save, so I'm just going to go ahead and click cancel. But essentially, the open house will show up here. You can delete it if you want to, if they decide they're not going to have it because they're being socially responsible and socially distancing themselves. So you can delete it if you need to, or once it shows up there, you can click on the line and you'll be able to edit the day and the time if necessary. There's also a print feature here. So if your agent has a seller that was like, I know you've been doing a ton of open houses, but do you have a list for me? You can come in here and print that list and it'll print the whole list of all the open houses that they've had. This next button here is the media stream. So this is where all your virtual tours, your virtual walkthroughs, your videos, your drone footage, whatever you want to call it, this is where you would maintain that. And you do that from right here. You can edit multiple photos. I'm sorry, that's photos. Edit multiple videos, or you can add videos. If you wanted to delete one that's already in there, of course, you would do that from here. Check mark that box and hit delete. Or if you need to update the URL, you can do that by clicking the pencil. Only URLs can be added here, so it does have to be housed somewhere else, whether it's YouTube, Vimeo, whatever it might be. You do have to have the URL link. You're not able to upload MP4s or anything like that, so you do need the video link, and then that is where you would put it in here. Now, what we found out with Coldwell Banker Global Luxury is if the video is not automatically playing like it's supposed to, sometimes the MLSs are feeding these over as video walkthroughs and not virtual tours, and they do need to be statused as virtual tours in order for ColdwellBankerLuxury.com to auto play those on the website. So if you hear your agent having a little bit of a struggle with that website, come over to TransactionPlan, check out the media stream and see what that is tagged as. Of course, if you can't get it to work the way it's supposed to, you always can reach out to myself or the help desk. So that is video. It works the same way with photos. So if you click on edit multiple photos, there are no photos in this listing, which is part of the problem we're having. So if I had the photos, you just click the little camera plus, and this is where you would be able to upload the photos. You just select all the photos that you have, upload them, and then they will feed across. So if it is, especially if it's a Coldwell Banker Global Luxury listing, we want to upload those high-res photos. Prior to this, in Michigan, Ohio, and Florida West Coast, you were doing that in online office. As it stands today, you will be doing that in TransactionPlan in order to feed Coldwell Banker Luxury. So if you have any questions on that, you can move photos around in here. If they don't feed in the order that the agent wants to see them online, you can come in here and reorder them. So it can allow you to do both. So if it's feeding over low-res photos, or if it's feeding over photos that have the little watermark in the corner from the MLS, you can come in here, select all right here from that little button, and then delete them all out and then re-upload the high-res that the agent provides to you. Now, once we get the agents access to this, they'll be able to do that for their own listings if they choose, but of course it is one of the service that we provide for them as agent service coordinators. So that is where you would do it in here. Those are the main portion of the listings that you're going to do from TransactionPlan. So if you're ever questioning if you should update anything in Account Tech or TransactionPlan, if you think of it as media, photos, virtual tours, or open houses, those media type things, that's all done in TransactionPlan. Now, to confuse things further, when you need to mark it as Global Luxury so that it initially even shows up on ColdwellBankerLuxury.com, that is done in Account Tech. There is no way to do that from TransactionPlan. But anything to do with media, photos, virtual tours, open houses, it's all done here in TransactionPlan. So there's other features on here that we really haven't rolled out, because between Moxie and our brand tools, they are better products than what this has. But this is where you need to come to make sure that you're inputting the correct information to feed the consumer-facing websites. I do see there's some questions, so let me go ahead and read these. I feel you, Nicole. Sarah says, does the MLS override any of this? So good question. So no, it would not. It feeds this initial information over and it will change status, but it will not change any of your media that you update. So good question there, Sarah. Media being open houses, virtual tours, or photos. Samantha said that she noticed some of the listings have no photos in TransactionPlan, but they are in the MLS. And what about CBC Worldwide? So 2 questions, very, very good questions. If the photos are not in TransactionPlan, that means that they have not fed to Dash, which means they are not on the consumer-facing site. So please get with your agent, get those original photos, and get them uploaded into TransactionPlan. That's a simple feed issue. As you can imagine, when mapping 14 different MLSs into one little portal, some feed issues do occur. So that could have been from the initial feed. So if that is the case, go ahead and get those from the agent and get them uploaded. It's a quick process once it happens. The trick is, once you upload the photos, if you want to expedite getting them over to the websites and not wait for the natural feed, you can pop over to Account Tech in the actual Citrix environment and submit that listing so that it pushes those photos through quicker than it would be if you were waiting for the feed. So that's the trick there. So for CBC Worldwide, it's actually the same feed. It's just like the Coldwell Banker Luxury. So I apologize for leaving that one out, but that's a good question. So updating photos and information in TransactionPlan will also feed over to CBC Worldwide, which for those of you that might not know, that is the commercial website provided to us from Coldwell Banker Commercial, the brand. Sue asked, is there a search function anywhere to pinpoint listings without photos? We're going to learn together here, Sue, so bear with me. If you go to reports and you go to property, again, bear with me, we're learning together. And it may be something that I have to learn and then offline and tell you guys later. I want to say there is, but I probably am going to have to figure out how to do that. So great question. That would expedite it and it would help you so that you know exactly which ones you're listing. Let me just run a quick report. And if anybody sees something on the screen that jumps out at you, like, hey, click there, let me know. It very well may be something that you just have to discern from the dashboard in Account Tech. So if I go into Account Tech and go to franchise requirements in the lower right corner of the dashboard, there is one called properties with too few photos. It would pop on that. Are you guys seeing Account Tech, or did it stay in TransactionPlan? If somebody can shoot me a note. Okay, let me reshare my screen so that you can see this. There we go. You should be seeing TransactionPlan now. So right here in the lower right corner where it says franchise requirements, properties with too few photos, it's going to show up on that list for your offices. So there may be a report and I will dig in and figure that out and get back to you guys. But for now, you can do it from there. Let me go back to sharing. I shared my desktop instead of Google Chrome. There we go. So great question. I will figure that out. But in the meantime, go ahead and use Account Tech for the properties with too few photos. Samantha, if listings are not showing up for commercial on CBC Worldwide, send me a couple MLSs, numbers and addresses, and we'll dig in. There might be something wrong with the feed up there. So just let me know, and then we can offline that. So good point. We want to make sure our listings are showing up, especially in this day and age. Another question from Kathy. Yes, thank you, Kathy. Remind the Florida West Coast, so anybody with Coldwell Banker or Sunstar that are on the call, that you will not be able to do the account tech portion because you're not been trained on that yet. So it's just transaction plan that you'll need to get into. If you want a report of that, just reach out to Chris or Karen, and they can get to account tech and pull down the listings that have too few photos for you. So good point. Thank you, Kathy, for pointing that out. So I'm going to click back on the, well, you would think home would take you home, but if you click on the little TP, it should take you back to the main screen, which it's not. So I clicked on tools, go back to reports. So the second report I want to show you has to do with the account tech cleanup that is very vital to the company right now. As you can imagine, day-to-day real-time data is going to be very important to the leadership team. So we just want to make sure that the information is accurate. And it's not always anything that is done on the local level. A lot of times it's just the feeds from the MLS go wonky, and that makes the information incorrect. So if you can pay attention, if you can run this report, maybe right now at a daily basis, but stay tuned, because actually Steve Bell is on a call with Account Tech right now to confirm that this report is accurate. So we will be giving you directions shortly on what the company is going to ask for you. But since we're together right now already, I wanted to show you how to run this report. Steve did confirm that anybody with front desk security status in Account Tech will be able to get to this report, and that actually even goes for Florida West Coast. You should be able to get in here and run this report in TransactionPlan as well. If for some reason your screen looks vastly different than mine and you don't have what I'm about to show you, just reach out to myself and we'll get in there and get you this security level that you need. So from reports, which is right here, you want to go into analysis, and you want to go into Office Production Analysis Summary. Fancy. All the words. But it's the second from the bottom. This box will pop up, and even though it really, really annoys me, it always pops up kind of towards the bottom of your screen. So if you just scroll up a little bit, it'll come up. So say you want to know just the activity from this week. You can pick Monday through today. Based on the status that you have in Account Tech will be based on what options you have. Obviously, I have the whole company, so I can see all the offices. Your drop down should be just your office or the offices in the region that you are assigned. So I'm going to pick on Sue, since you were super helpful with me earlier. And we're going to go down to Indian River. So pick Indian River. We have our date range there. You can leave status as all, because we really want to take a look at the whole picture. And then down here, it does default to certain things, but if there's something on the list that's not checked that you want to know, go ahead and check it. You can uncheck things that you don't care about so that they don't show up on your list at all. And I'm kind of just clicking around here. There will be guidelines on how to run these reports and exactly what leadership wants to see. And then just click run. Once that report is ran, it's going to come up and look like this, which is a snapshot. It's going to be a snapshot of the Indian River office. And then the totals for the entire state of Michigan are here at the bottom. So there's a few questions that Steve is getting some answers to, like what's the difference between sides and list count and pen count. So we're kind of trying to get some more accurate information from Account Tech on this report, but we do feel it's going to be the most accurate one for us. Now from here, what you can do is actually download it to Excel. So if you click on the little floppy disk, which always cracks me up that we still use that icon when children don't even know what a floppy disk is. So you click on that guy and click Excel if you have Excel. If not, we can talk about other options. And then you can open this report. From here, you can see it's a fancy-dancy Excel spreadsheet, and there's options up here. If you want to look at exact properties in each of these categories, if you click on the number 3 up here in the upper left corner, Oh, okay. Thank you. I gotta share my Excel. There it goes. Okay, so let me go over that again. Once you download the Excel spreadsheet and pop it up, there are levels up here, 1, 2, and 3. If you click on 3, it's going to show every individual property by address. So when you first open it, it's going to look just like very similar to what it looked like in Account Tech before you exported it into Excel. And then if you click on the 3, you can see it opened up all of these categories and it's giving you all of these addresses. So one of the questions that we are having for Account Tech is, as you can see from 1021 Woodbridge, it's in here twice. One doesn't have any units or volume and one does. So we're trying to clear that up as well. And once we have all the answers to these questions, we will get them out to you guys in your offices so that you can start running this report, not only for leadership, but also for your managers. This is a great report that your managers would want to see. We're also asking if they could throw the agent name on there because we would think that would be super helpful, especially when the managers are using this report. So again, it can be quite easy to run the report. It's just discerning what the report is actually telling us that we're figuring out. And then once we do, we will be sure to get that information out to you guys so that you're aware. Now, there's nothing in these reports that you can break. So any report name that is interesting to you, you can go ahead and run. This great one is by month, so you're not picking just a week or a day, you're actually running the whole month. So take a look at this and see, again, you can't break it. It's simply reporting out of the information that's both being fed from the MLS and that you guys are processing in your office or regionally. So take a look at these reports. It's kind of an interesting task if you have a little bit of spare time on your hands to get in there and start playing around with it. But just to recap, you can find the address up here. You just start typing it and the options are going to come down. And again, based on your security level, if you have regional access or if you just have your office access, will be the listings that show up in that box. And then you can click on the address to fully pop it up, or you can click these fast links. So if you're just quickly wanting to update an open house, you can click right there and it'll open that open house portal. So I did see a question come through, so let me pop that back up. Good question, Bailey. For ASCs, the purpose of those reports are to just make sure the first purpose is to make sure that the information is accurate, because you're processing the listings and the pendings in your office. So you will know if there's one on the report that just doesn't make sense. Or sometimes our agents will do some information in the MLS and not tell you about it. So that's good too. So if they put something on the market but didn't turn in a file, this will let you know as well. But again, there's no agent name on there as of today, but we are trying to update that. Michelle asks, is everything in there even though we are still entering in Lucero? So Kathy might be able to answer that, or we might have to call in Karen or Chris. I'm not exactly sure on the process right now in Florida, Michelle. I know we want to quickly move away from Lucero as fast as possible, but I don't have a timeline on that. So that's a good question. So if you could pose that in an email to Chris and Karen, they'll get an answer for you. Okay, so Bambi in Ohio did not have access to the analysis report. So I will take a look at that after the call, Bambi, and I'll shoot you an email back once I have it fixed. So yes, Sue, if you're only seeing monthly business journals, shoot me that email. I may have gotten some bad information from Mr. Bell that we have to clear up. So we want to make sure that you can see the report that we're going to ask you to run. So yeah, shoot me an email. Thanks for checking on that so quickly. So we are getting initial reports that initial reports about the reports that you guys are not seeing the office production analysis summary. So go ahead and shoot me an email and we'll figure out what that security level is and we'll get that set in Account Tech. So any other questions for me? I'm not seeing any, but I'll give it just a few minutes. And keep in mind, you guys, if you have audio, whether you've called in or if you have a computer headset or whatnot, you can always unmute and ask questions as well. I do like the sound of my own voice, but I also like the sound of other people's voices too. Okay, well, I have seen no other questions come in. So, as you hear of agents, if there's something misinformation on coldwellbanker.com, CBC Worldwide, Coldwell Banker Luxury, Zillow, Trulia, if there's any of those websites that are having media issues, open house issues, virtual tour issues, this is where you come to update those. This transaction plan is what is going to give you the access to that consumer facing website information in order to update. So that's all the questions right now. So I really appreciate everybody's time. And these are uncertain times, so we appreciate all your dedication to your offices, to your agents, to the company. I really appreciate all the work you've done in account tech to clear that up for those of you that were tasked with that. And there's a lot of questions right now. And the company's working really hard with the brand and the CDC information guidelines to get information out into your offices. If there's any questions or concerns, not only just about this topic, but about anything, reach out to me, let me know. You can chat me on G Suite, you can email me, you can Facebook me, you can call my cell, call my work phone, whatever you need, just let me know. Just stay in communication. And I appreciate everyone so much. Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.